Hello there, guys, and welcome to another kind of a marathon, if you like. And this time, the item we're going to repair is a little bigger. It's this camper here, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago to you guys. I bought this together with my girlfriend, and we did that back in February 2020. Now it's the end of July 2020. Actually, August is coming up very quickly, and yeah, we're going to leave tomorrow, so this better be ready to go. And in order to get it to this point, I put a tremendous amount of work into this. And yeah, I just wanted to show you some before and after footage, let you know everything about my experience with this kind of thing. And let's start by looking at what the thing looked like back in February. Now, this is a Bürstner Lux 400. That's a German manufacturer of these kinds of caravans and RVs. They're still around, I think, but this one was built in 1980. And you can see that maybe by the style of what you find in here. Some of the materials and parts are actually from the 70s, and it's kind of reminiscent of that as well. We bought this for around €1,000. Now, I don't know if you think that's a lot or maybe not for a 40-year-old camper. The thing is that we had been looking for caravans online for quite some time, and we wanted to spend not more than maybe 1.5k, but the caravan needed to be roadworthy. Now, I don't know how it's in your country, but if you want to move one of these things on public roads in Germany, it's got to be roadworthy, and that's something that is checked every 2 years. A kind of general inspection, just what you do with your car. So we bought this for €1,000, but with new brakes and new tires, and just having passed the general inspection. So from a purely mechanical vehicle point of view, the thing was up and running. The interior of the actual camper, of the living unit, is an entirely different story. And that is what we put a tremendous amount of work into. And at the end of the day, we had spent about another $1,000 on renovating the caravan. So I'd say that 2k is the minimum amount of money that you will have to spend to buy one of these things and get it to a point where it's actually a joy to live in. Now I'd say it's time to take a look at what the camper looks now. And I'm going to go through a lot of the little details, a lot of the things that I had to repair in order to prepare for the holidays. Now, as you can see, we try to preserve some of the old look because we really liked these kinds of patterns here. I think they're old-fashioned but stylish in a way, so we washed them, dried them, put them back on, and we will keep them. I think it adds to the charm. But as you can see, we tried to renew the walls, and this was actually done by stickering, if you want. These are white stickers. Unfortunately, we ran out of them before we could finish the camper. So we got most of it done over here, but not so much over there. Now, another thing that really makes a big difference, of course, is the floor. This is something we did last, and we just added this well, wooden style covering here into the camper, and it remains to be seen if this was a good idea. But there were a couple of other things here. Of course, there's a lot of built-in furniture here, like made from kind of like 1980s style plywood. I replaced all of these with something that has similar dimensions, but this is beech plywood and was then oiled, and that's how I got this look here. I think it's pretty cool. It remains to be seen if the items that we're going to pack inside will stay in there while riding around. And I think it's probably a good idea to have some kind of rubber straps in here that will hold the stuff we pack in there back inside. In this case here, we actually added doors. This one here is also one that I like pretty much. And this wasn't even that expensive. A panel like this is about 15 euros. Now this is for coat hangers and stuff. But you also can see some wiring here. This one goes up to a solar panel that's up on the roof. And for that, let me open this hatch here, which I also built by myself. And I don't know if you can see it, but should be over there. That's the one solar panel we have, so that's not that much power. But it should be enough for lighting, charging our phones and laptops. This is the solar battery controller that I use here. I think that goes for 50 or 60 bucks. And then down here we have some of the electronics. We have an HM battery and a 1000-watt inverter. Now, please cut me some slack with the loose wiring in here. I know that this doesn't look that great. But unlike my normal videos, the electronics and the gadgets were really not the most important thing here. It was more about trying to make it comfortable to live in here. But let me show you a little more about, or tell you a little more about some of the gadgets that I actually built inside. And that is, for example, I have these 12-volt sockets around the camper. This one here has a little phone charger plugged in, or, well, it's a 12-volt to 5-volt converter, but you can charge up to 2 phones at the same time with that. And then I have another one over here. This is where, for example, I plug in that cooler box that I repaired in the last video. Now, for all things that require way more energy than what that 100 amp hour battery can deliver, actually I also have a gas system in here. There's a propane cylinder in the front in this box here. And from there, the propane is distributed via a bunch of valves through different devices. We have this cooker here, which I had to clean up. I cleaned that out with compressed air. I just used a compressor. I blasted all the little debris and whatnot out of those nozzles there, and now it's working again. And we also have this absorption refrigerator here, which is also gas powered, and it can also be either powered via battery, 12-volt battery, or 220 volts AC landline. But it draws about 150 watts electric power to achieve what it does with a very little amount of propane gas. So it's actually a much better idea to actually have a fridge run on the propane rather than on the battery. And you might have seen that in the footage here before. We also have a gas-powered heater in here. It's also working. But that's something that we probably won't need on our ride here, and that's why I haven't yet taken care of the fan that usually sucks the warm air off the backside of that radiator and distributes that then via these, I think it's some kind of paper, through these tubes here all around the camper. Pretty sophisticated system, but we're not going to need it as it's extremely hot at the moment. It's 40 degrees in here while I'm filming. 40 degrees Celsius, that is. So, what was it I wanted to talk about next? Well, there is one pretty big problem that I still have to solve before we can be on our way. And that is that we need some kind of shade, some kind of curtain, something to shut off, to close off this window here if you want to sleep inside. That's also why I didn't finish the bed yet, because I have to stand here to install something under the window. Maybe something like this here, so that we can have it dark in here when we sleep and people maybe not stare directly into our faces. So I just ordered something, and let's take a look at that and see if we can install it. So here's a big roller blind that I ordered. It came here yesterday after I'd ordered that like 3 days ago. which isn't bad. But then they screwed up big time by sending me an incomplete set. See, you have these angles here, and these angles have to be attached to the actual roller, but there are little pegs that have to be inserted here connecting the two parts. And you can see that on this little picture here. Well, I have like 2 more hours until we will go, and we absolutely need this, so let's see if we can build something like this ourselves. Now, on one side here, we have something like a spline shaft. Keilwelle is a German word for that. And we'll have to make something that fits in here rather tightly and then connects to one of these plates. On the other, whoopsie, it's basically just a little axle in there. So we will need either a tube or some kind of bar that we will have to work on the lathe. By the way, these steel bars here are again salvaged parts from old inkjet printers, and they have been sitting on the shelves for quite some time, and I didn't really need them. But now all of a sudden I seem to need them all the time.